Hey, Internet! If you didn't see my YA Rebels video this past Sunday, then you might want to check that out. I'll put the link here. It was sort of the opening salvo of books I was looking forward to in the fall, and I recruited some other young adult authors to tell me what they were interested in. So yeah, check it out. Like I said in that video, I have a lot more that I am interested in. In fact, I don't have an exact number. I just kind of wanted to get started, and there'll be a mix. It'll be a mix of young adult, and genres like crazy. Who knows what genres I'll pick? It'll just usually dark though. I think you pretty much know that about me by now. There are a lot of great books coming out in fall, including in September Gretchen McNeil's 10 and Corey Jackson's If I Lie. But I'll be pimping those out a lot, as they're my fellow rebels, so yeah. But I'm gonna skip over them today because I'm a bastard like that. And I want to talk about two books that come out in September in particular. One is, bing! The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. Now, I'm interested in this only because of one line in the description which describes it as Blackley comic, which is absolutely one of my favorite things to hear about a book. Now, I'm skeptical. I am. I mean, I don't like the cover. I'm surprised that she went in such a vastly different direction from Harry Potter, but I understand at the same time, despite how we all feel about Harry Potter and that world and how we lovingly embrace it, she's the writer, and the more you spend time with your own work, the more you get sick of it. You can only flip burgers for a while before you can't stand eating them. Right? I am also excited to read Libba Bray's The Diviners, seen here. Look, I love this cover. I'm really hoping that it's going to take a lot of the whimsical humor of Going Bovine and Beauty Queens and the satire and stuff like that and mix it into a paranormal novel. I suspect it's probably going to be more like her Great and Terrible Beauty series. I don't know. I'm willing to give it a shot because I'm loving her humor. So there. Clearly, the book I'm most excited about getting my hands on is my own. Because it's going to be in hardback, and I want to feel that. Oh my God, I want to feel it in my hands. I suspect I might actually have copies of that in September. And if I do, I'll probably give away some early copies. Who knows? I don't know. There are a lot of other books coming out in October. Particularly on the 2nd of October, there are some really great books, including The Turning by Francine Prose, who's more of a literature type person. She's a lit fic. And this, I believe, is her first young adult novel. And it is a reimagining of Henry James's Turn of the Screw, which is a really classic ghost story. It was a novella from a long time ago. It's a little obtuse in the writing. It's very interesting, but yeah, I'm really excited to read it, and I'm hoping if someone pulls through, Gretchen, then I will get an ARC soon and be able to pour over it before October. We'll see. I don't know. I don't. Another October horror/fantasy read that I'm really looking forward to is Andrew Smith's Passenger, which is coming out one day in October, and is the sequel to his Marbury Lens, which was one of my favorite books of whenever it came out. I can't be counted on for specifics or actual facts, so there you go. I'm expecting more weird, more freaky, definitely unsettling stuff from Passenger, and I don't think I'm going to be disappointed. Speaking of passengers, one of my favorite YA authors ever is A.S. King, who you may know from books like Dust of 100 Dogs and Please Ignore Vera Dietz and Everybody Sees the Ants. But her new book, Ask the Passengers, is, I think, a little bit of a departure, except it's got all that magical realism that we've come to love about A.S. King's books. It's about a girl coming to terms with her sexuality and her personality. She kind of projects her hope and her just sort of her intense feelings towards these planes in the sky, and it actually does have an effect on the passengers. That's my take on it. We'll see. I can't wait to read it. It's going to be amazing. But back to the horror, because that's really what October's about, and I love reading horror novels. One that looks absolutely amazing is this one right here, and it's by David Wong, who you may know from John Dies at the End. It's a sort of a crazy, sort of gonzo kind of a horror novel, and it's been made into a movie as well. And the new book is called This Book is Full of Spiders, which frankly makes me want to run screaming for that closet to grab some Raid. Next up is a book that I'm sure is not going to be either wacky or funny, and that is John Ajvide Lindqvist's Little Star. Lindqvist is the writer of Let the Right One In, that creepy vampire story about the little girl, and she sort of grooms the little boy to become her. I'm not going to ruin it for you. You either see the movie or read the books. He's becoming sort of the front runner as the successor to Stephen King. I've read that somewhere. And Little Star, it sounds like there's an element of like performance, like singing and things like that. And the singing takes a weird turn. And this novel is really set up to become the horror novel of the year. So you're not going to want to miss that. It is an adult book. As is the David Wong book. So keep that in mind. The next book is probably one of the biggest books that people are waiting for, and it doesn't even have a cover yet. It's got this instead. Mark Z. Danielewski's The 50-Year Sword. And I'm not even sure what this one's about, but if you're aware of the name at all, he is the writer of House of Leaves, which is one of the creepiest, most bizarre books you could ever read. It's absolutely a mindfuck. It's I think that if you haven't read it and you really want to challenge yourself in your reading, because it is both adult and very experimental in the way the type is set up. There are long stretches of pages that don't have anything on them, or maybe like one word or things like that. Very unusual book, but at the same time, the book gives you this sense that reading it is becoming somehow dangerous to your sanity, and it's brilliant. It's really quite brilliant and very scary, and I think everyone will love it. And that's why The 50-Year Sword is really something that's kind of exciting. This next one is Fairy Tales from the Brothers Grimm, which sounds like something we've all read before, except for Philip Pullman, who did The Golden Compass, that trilogy, has rewritten a lot of fairy tales, just revised them, done lots of different things, and it'd be interesting to see what he did to this stuff. So yeah, check that out in November. And finally, in December, just in time for the holidays, we've got Me and the Devil by Nick Tosches. This is an adult book, and I am sure it's going to be quite disturbing. This book centers around a writer who decides, basically, that drinking blood, he's not a vampire, will somehow spark his creativity, and it sparks something else entirely. It doesn't sound like it's vampirism, but it sounds like it's mass murder. So, yeah, there you go. Another horror book, just in time for Christmas, or Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa, or whatever you celebrate. Enjoy. Make sure to tune back in this week, because I'm going to be doing a bookmark giveaway video, because I got a whole bunch of bookmarks. Anyway, what books are you guys excited about this fall? Let me know in the comments, because I know it's difficult to find out what's coming. I mean, except for Velveteen, which of course I tell you about all the time. So you know to look for that, right? And to tell everyone and get them to buy it so that I can eat some bread.